G'day guys, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we're going to be going through my round 2 AFL tips for the 2023 season. So in today's video we're going to be reviewing my round 1 tips as well as going over my round 2 tips for the 2023 AFL season. In round 1 I thought it was a pretty good weekend of football. I really enjoyed it. Pretty high quality football, a lot of close matches, few interesting losses unfortunately for the Cats, but without further ado let's just go review my round 1 tips and then we'll get on to my round 2 tips for the 2023 AFL season. So here we go, we can review my round 1 tips for the 2023 AFL season. Starting off on the Thursday night for the first game of the season, I tipped Carlton, got that one correct, everyone did, it was a draw. Pretty crazy, did not expect a draw in the first game of the season, don't remember the last time that happened, but yeah, pretty happy I got a tip right there, and then things start to fall off a cliff a bit here. Geelong, they lose to Collingwood, maybe a little bit unexpected. Collingwood came out firing in that last quarter. I really thought the Cats would get the job done after the third quarter, but Collingwood, they were the better team at the end of the day. North Melbourne beat the Eagles. I think most people would have got that right, you'd think. Pretty good game over at Marvel, really close, only a 5-point ball game in the end, but cracking game, and pretty happy I got the North Melbourne tip right. We also got the Port Adelaide tip right. That was a bit of an upset call there, but Port Adelaide ended up doing a bit of a number on the Brisbane Lions over at the Adelaide Oval, so pretty happy to get that tip right. Melbourne beat the Dogs quite comfortably. I did think that was going to happen, and it did end up happening. So Melbourne beat the Dogs at the MCG, and then Gold Coast. What was I thinking back in Gold Coast? This is what I did last year. I backed Gold Coast, and I don't need to back them. They're not a top 4 quality team, and the Sydney Swans are. Not sure what I was doing there back in the Gold Coast. I think a few people did, but at the end of the day, Sydney Swans were probably always going to win that. I went for Adelaide to beat the Giants over at Giants Stadium. And you know what? It was looking pretty good for most of the game. I thought Adelaide were controlling the game. I thought they were going to win it. But then the GWS Giants came and kicked like 4 goals in a row or something. So the Giants, well, maybe they're not going to be as bad as we think this year. Hawthorn v Essendon. I always thought Essendon were going to win quite comfortably, and that's exactly what happened. I think Hawthorn, that is not there yet. And with Brad Scott over at the Bombers, I think it's going to do a lot of good things for the Essendon fans this year. I think Essendon will actually be quite a good team and maybe even push for finals. And after that performance, I can't see why not. St Kilda v Fremantle. Wow, this is a pretty dead game, as we all thought it would be. 4:40 at Marvel, St Kilda game. What do you expect? But I did think Freo would get the job done. It was a bit of a nothing game. No team was really looked promising, but the Dockers just got rolled in the end, and St Kilda win quite comfortably in the end. They controlled the last quarter. So those are my round 1 tips. Now let's get straight on to my round 2 tips for the 2023 AFL season. So to kick things off in round 2, we've got a blockbuster game at the MCG on Thursday night. It's going to be Carlton taking on Geelong. Carlton, wow, they were pretty good last week. They played really good. I thought that was a pretty high quality game of football, Carlton v Richmond. So I think Carlton are going to be it's going to be a pressure game. This game's going to be so much pressure. Carlton need to win it. They only got the 2 points last week. Geelong need to win it even more to prove they're still a top team. And if Geelong drop this game, it could be red sirens flashing down at the Cattery. But I think Geelong get this one done. They should get it done after last week coming off a pretty poor performance, but Geelong should get this one done, and we'll go on margin. I think Geelong win by let's drop our own margin in 23 points. So maybe quite comfortably in the end. We normally do the Blues quite comfortably, but I think Geelong will win quite comfortably. Now, new to this week, I didn't do it last week, but this week we're doing a big call for each game, and if we get it right, well, there's not going to be any punishments, but a big call. So my big call for this week, Jezza and Hawkins to combine for 7 or more goals. I think that's maybe likely to happen, but I think Hawkins and Jezza, they're going to combine for 7 or more goals at the MCG. Moving on to our Friday night game now, we've got a 7:50 game up at the Gabba up in Brisbane. We've got the Brisbane Lions taking on the Melbourne Demons. Now the Brisbane Lions on PointsBet are coming in at $2 and Melbourne $1.80, so pretty close odds there. I actually think the Brisbane Lions get this one done in maybe a little bit of an upset, but I think it's going to be a bit of a fortress up at the Gabba this year, so I think the Brisbane Lions get this one done maybe comfortably in the end. Actually, probably not comfortably. I think the Brisbane Lions get this one done by under 10 points. It's going to be an absolute cracker for the Friday night. And yeah, it's going to be a huge game. My big call for this one is going to be Brodie Grundy kicks 2 goals or more. That is a big call. Brodie Grundy, 2 goals or more. Don't think he's going to be near the goals too much, but Brodie Grundy, 2 goals or more for the Melbourne Demons. Moving on to the first of the Saturday games, we've got a 1:45 at the MCG for Port Adelaide v Collingwood. Now, I think Port Adelaide might have got the job done last year against Collingwood. Maybe, not sure about that one, but Collingwood should get this one done maybe comfortably in the end. Although Port Adelaide had a pretty good performance last week, So this is a bit of a 50-50 game, not like the odds are suggesting, but I think this one really could go either way. But in the end, I think home ground advantage and all the Collingwood fans are going to be there. So I think Collingwood win this one quite comfortably in the end. And my big call for the Collingwood v Port Adelaide game is going to be there's going to be 12 or more behinds kicked for the game combined. So Collingwood and Port Adelaide are going to combine for 12 or more points in the game. Moving on to our Adelaide Oval game for the round, we've got a 4:35 over at the Adelaide Oval. Adelaide taking on Richmond. Again, this is a little bit of a 50-50 game, maybe a bit more of a 50-50 game than the odds are suggesting, but Richmond, they could win this comfortably, or Adelaide, they could win this in a bit of a close one. They are pretty good at the Adelaide Oval, and they seem to win a lot of these games, and maybe they shouldn't, but I am going to back in the Tigers here. I don't want to do too many upsets this week, but I'm going to back in the Tigers. Realistically, they should get the job done. There's nothing stopping them. They're a powerhouse team, and coming off that draw last week, they're really going to want to get the 4 points this week, so I think the Tigers go over to Adelaide Oval, and they're going to roll the Adelaide Crows. I think it's going to be 40 plus points win for the Richmond Tigers. And yeah, that's going to be a cracking game. My big call for this one is going to be Tom Lynch to miss 3 or more goals. He's going to kick 3 or more behinds or 3 or more out in the full. So Tom Lynch to have a bit of a shocker over at the Adelaide Oval. Moving on to the 7:25 game for the Saturday. It's over at Marvel Stadium for the Marvel Stadium battle. I guess you could say St Kilda v the Western Bulldogs. Both their home grounds, technically. It will be the Dogs' home game, though. So this is a pretty tight contest as well. St Kilda did look promising last week. They did get the 4 points at the end, but I just don't think their brand of footy was really exciting to watch or anything like that. So I think the Dogs get this one done. They did come off a pretty shit loss last week, so I think the Dogs gonna just, they're gonna come back and they're gonna get the 4 points. In a bit of a close one, I think a bit closer than most people are going to be expecting, but the Dogs gonna get this one done. My big call for the Dogs game is going to be the Western Bulldogs are going to kick 5 or more consecutive goals at any stage of the game. Heading over to the West now for an Optus Stadium 7:30 PM game. We've got the Freo Dockers v North Melbourne. And as the odds are suggesting, I think Freo are going to absolutely roll the Kangas here. I think there's no way that Kangas even come close to the Fremantle Dockers. They shouldn't. Fremantle came off a rough loss last week. And if Freo want to prove they're still a top 4 side, they're really going to just need to pump the Kangas over here. If the Kangas even get near them, alarm bells could be ringing at the Optus Stadium HQ for the Freo Dockers, because if they come off a loss and then nearly lose to North Melbourne, that's not going to be a good look. And I think Freo is going to absolutely roll the Kangas here. Maybe a 60 plus point win, you'd think, over at Optus. There's no way North even get close to them. My big call for this game is North are not going to kick a goal in any of the quarters. So it could be quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4. They're not going to kick a goal in one of the quarters. They're going to go goalless in a quarter. Kicking off the Sunday games now, we've got a 1:10 at the Sydney Cricket Ground at the SCG. We've got Sydney Swans v Hawthorn. Pretty big game. I think maybe Hawthorn could get this one done, but let's be realistic. Sydney Swans at $1.08. They're going to get the job done here. There's no way Hawthorn can get near the Sydney Swans here. Sydney Swans came off a really, really promising win over at the Gold Coast, and no signs of a premiership hangover, you wouldn't think. They absolutely pumped the Gold Coast. They were all over them right from the start. Gold Coast only got near the Swans in the second quarter, but yeah, you'd think the Sydney Swans get this one done comfortably. Hawthorn, on the other hand, had a pretty shocking loss against the Bombers, so not looking too good for the Hawthorn Hawks at the moment, but I'm going to back in the Sydney boys to get this one done quite comfortably. Got a bit of a different big call here for the SCG game. I've got someone to run on the field or streak on the field. This is a bit of a different one, but I think maybe someone could streak at this game. First Sydney home game of the year, so maybe a Sydney fan gets up and about and decides to go for a bit of a run on the field. So don't think that's going to happen, but you never know, it could. This is the game, ladies and gentlemen. This is the big game over at Marvel Stadium, 3:20, Essendon v Gold Coast. If you know, you know. Gold Coast Crips are going to be there, and we are backing in the Gold Coast Crips. Essendon are on top of the ladder for now, but not anymore. The Gold Coast Crips are going to absolutely lift the Gold Coast Suns. You'd think Gold Coast are going to get this one done after a shocking loss at home. They're going to come down to their real home at Marvel Stadium and do a number on the Essendon Bombers. Can you believe it? Gold Coast are going to win this game by 30 points, and I'm so confident in that. And if I come back to this video next week for my round 3 tips and Essendon win by 50, I'm going to look like a real idiot. But Gold Coast boys get it done. My big call, Marby Orkshow, 5 or more goals. Kicking it straight into the Gold Coast Crips cheer squad. It's going to be a massive day for Shoal and the Gold Coast Crips and the Suns. Now moving on to the final game of the round. We've got a 6:20 game over at Optus Stadium. Bit of a nothing game, Eagles v the Giants. The Giants looked really promising last week, and the Eagles, well, they did not look promising at all. They lost to North Melbourne, what can you say? But the GWS Giants, I think they're going to get this one done. Maybe a bit of an upset, maybe not. Maybe they are the favourites. But the GWS Giants get this one done. Really, really good game they played last week. And I think they're going to back it up this week. And they're going to go over to the West. And, yeah, they're going to get the job done. The Giants are going to go over to the West and get this one done. Not by a big margin, but by a close margin. You think the GWS Giants get this one done. So let's submit our tips for the round 2 season. And there we go. They're just submitting, all loading up now. Remember, guys, we do have a tipping comp. If you guys want to join, that link will be in the pinned comments and the description of this video. So go down there, join the tipping comp. It's not too late. I think we've got like 150 members now, which is absolutely insane. So join the tipping comp. Anyway, guys, those are my tips for the week of round 2. I got 5 and 9 last week. Hopefully, we can do a little bit better this week. But yeah, if you guys went on to enjoy today's video or liked my tips or whatever, drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure you join the tipping comp. We'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.